Hello, I'm Peter Towers, Managing Director of ESS Small Business. Welcome to Empowering SMEs. I hope that you're surviving in these difficult circumstances. Today, my theme is developing intellectual property, funding it, perhaps by raising capital direct from the public. They're the issues that I would like to discuss with you. But first, an update on COVID-19 coronavirus, stimulus packages from the Australian government, the government's decision to extend JobKeeper from 1 October has been ratified by the Australian Parliament, and JobKeeper will continue, admittedly on a slightly changed format. The amount payable per fortnight is to reduce from 1 October to $1,200 per eligible employee per fortnight through until the 3rd of January 2021. That was for a person employed for more than 20 hours per week. For someone who is working less than 20 hours per week and who is eligible for that employer, the JobKeeper payment will be $750 per fortnight. Now let's turn to intellectual property development and what's going on in this COVID-19 coronavirus. In our webinar yesterday for small businesses, our keynote speaker was Terry Hurlock, the founder of the intellectual property advisory business Invention Pathways. Terry gave an interesting overview on the journey of intellectual property development that a sole trader or a small company or even a large one can be involved in. And he indicated that in these times when there's a lot of difficulty and obviously people are working at home, there is an expectation that there's going to be significant amounts of intellectual property developed. Let me read to you Terry's comments. There is no doubt that the recent lockup for most of the world will bring to the fore, in some people's minds, the thoughts of solving immediate problems they face. Even in his office, Terry indicated, we have seen innovative thinking by clients who have provided some innovative and inventive thinking on sanitizing rooms and shopping trolleys during the focus on sanitation. During these periods of economic downturn, we see bigger numbers of invention arrive at our office. It's a phenomenon that we have seen before. We think that a period of lack of usual activity drives individuals to seek to see if there is any value in that idea they thought of some time ago. Terry's organisation, Invention Pathways, assists people and businesses who have developed something to then have an understanding of what is involved in the journey, from a research to a prototype to then looking at what protection could be obtained for that intellectual property, whether it's a patent or trade agreements or what other type of agreement, registration of a trademark, etc. So I do commend to you to listen to the recording of that webinar, which featured Terry Hurlock as our keynote presenter. And you can access that recording from the email that you've received that gave you the introduction to this particular video. I also discussed the opportunity that private companies now have to raise capital direct from the public. And whilst it's nearly 2 years since crowdsourced funding equity raising become available for small businesses and medium-sized enterprises, companies with turnovers under $25 million, there seems to be still a lack of understanding of how crowdsourced funding equity raising works. And in these difficult times when I suspect it's going to be very difficult to borrow from banks once we get beyond the end of September, the ability to be able to go to the public in an organised, legal manner to raise capital is a great advantage that Australian small businesses now have. I only wish we'd had it 25, 30 years ago when I was working very closely with a number of clients that would have been ideal for this process. But you have it now. So if you want to know more information, please listen to the recording of yesterday's webinar, which you can access from the email that you've received. And if you need to, please contact me, peter@essbiztools.com.au, and I can give you further information and perhaps introduce you to some of our accounting subscribers who are situated all over Australia, who are committed to assisting businesses to be able to go down the crowdsourced funding equity raising path. Our next webinar, as part of the COVID-19 Survival Panel series, featuring our affiliates and some other business operators, is on Wednesday the 16th of September at 12 noon AEST. Can I suggest that you mark that date in your calendar now and make sure that you have logged on for this free webinar? Because we have two outstanding presenters in that webinar. We have Matt Vitale, who's the joint founder and joint managing director of BIZTOOLS, a crowdsourced funding intermediary organisation licensed by the Australian Security Investment Commission, based in Melbourne, at this stage leading the scorecard in Australia as the most successful crowdsourced funding intermediary in assisting their client companies to raise capital. And Matt's going to talk about the opportunity that private companies have in trading out of this worst economic position that Australia's had for 75 years by utilising crowdsourced funding equity raising. The other keynote speaker is Andrew Geddes, one of Australia's leading business persons. Andrew started as a founder of the Financial Management Research Centre at the University of New England in Armidale. And then over the years, he has helped thousands of Australian accountants and business operators with their businesses. In fact, a company that he started to help 35 years ago developed from a one-man veterinary surgery business in Townsville to become Green Cross Limited, a company which was rated in the top 200 companies on the Australian Stock Exchange. Andrew was the chair of that company for the last 9 years and has learnt a considerable amount of information about how companies can scale up and grow, because really that's the whole basis of the Green Cross story. And Andrew will be sharing those thoughts with you on the 16th of September. So I look forward to talking to you then, and I look forward to hearing Matt Vitale's and Andrew Geddes's presentations on that day, and I'm sure you will enjoy them also. Stay safe and have a great day. Goodbye.